of the charities, of course, was crucial in their healthy fundraising activities or just getting the general awareness around. So let's reflect a little bit of that. Andy James is the Chief Financial Officer of Epilepsy Society. And Andy, I think we're connected, are we now, by a Zoom call?
I hope so.
We are indeed. Yes, good. Right. There was some doubt about that. I will come to you in just a moment, but let me just report for my listeners that the motorcade has come to a halt, and the King and Queen Consort have disembarked the car or stepped away from the car, and the civil greetings once again there. Senior military officer just guiding the events and corralling things. The King raising his arm and waving to the crowd. A bit of a walkabout here. I think that's what we are about to witness, and I'll see if I can bring you, if possible, some of the sounds of that in due course. But as we report on this, bunch of school children there, all in their school uniform. Well, that's always, Andy, a popular moment, isn't it? Come and see the royal family rather than actually do lessons. That's a good move.
For sure, yes, I would have loved that back in the day, certainly.
Now, epilepsy was a cause, you say, quite close to the Queen's heart. Her support for Epilepsy Society and the work you do. Tell us about that.
Well, yes, thank you. Yeah, she was our patron for 70 years, she supported over 600 charities in the UK over her lifetime, and we were very proud to be part of that group. I think she had a personal connection with epilepsy as well. Her uncle, Prince John, lived with seizures during his short life and is believed to have died from epilepsy at the age of 13. So, she stayed connected with us and was hugely instrumental in supporting the work that we do, both in caring for people with epilepsy, but also supporting through our helplines and researching the causes and the right sort of drug regimes that can help people control their seizures.
And your contact with Her Majesty, I think, stayed and even survived the wretched pandemic when nobody could do anything. I think you were one of the first organisations, I think, to get on a Zoom call, weren't you?
Yes, that's exactly right. We did Christmas 2020. We sent a special festive message over Zoom. Many people whose lives have been changed by the Epilepsy Society, with, of course, the Queen's support. It really was a big thank you to her for the support that she was able to give us and the game changer that she supported us to become as a charity for people with epilepsy.
And it affects everyone, doesn't it, really? The possibility of having to manage epilepsy through your life, it's pretty random amongst the population as a whole as to who gets it.
Yeah, indeed. 600,000 people in the UK have epilepsy, and over 200,000 of those have uncontrolled seizures. So it's a big issue, somewhat in the shadows of other issues, but affecting a lot of people. And yes, we're at the early stages of looking at the genomes and the genetics that can cause epilepsy, and that's a huge part of our research these days. We're at the cutting edge of that. But yes, it can affect anyone and from any walk of life.
How is the progress there towards getting, because many people with epilepsy, and I speak, my dear wife has the condition, has got it well under control. She's fortunate, I suppose, in that respect. But for many people who suffer, there isn't a drug, there isn't a treatment, there isn't a regimen that works for them. Are you optimistic that we're getting close to the day when that will be the case?
Yes, I mean, we've got to be optimistic, of course, and we're making, we were groundbreaking in terms of using MRI scans to look at the causes of epilepsy, and we're groundbreaking on the genomic sequencing as well. So, yes, there is cause for optimism. We are beginning to see the fruits of that work and ability to spot genetic differences that separate people with epilepsy from people who don't have it. So, yes, and there's new drugs, and a big part of our work here is testing those regimes and the amount of drugs in people's bloodstream, etc., to support people into that controlled seizure environment, which is so crucial for those individuals, and the cost of care as well. So we're making strong progress, and we continue to believe there is a future where epilepsy can be made irrelevant, and that's the mission of this society.
And certainly there is still the controversy around some of the controlled drugs. I'm thinking of sodium valproate particularly, and its use where women who might get pregnant are still taking it to this day, despite some very strong and well-established scientific advice that that's a very risky thing to do. I don't know if it'll still be the case, Andy James, but I believe that the Jeremy Hunt, the chair of the Health Select Committee, is going to be looking at that whole issue and the report into it in the coming days, if the parliamentary schedule hasn't slipped in that. Is that something you welcome?
Very much so. We've been behind the Safe Mum, Safe Baby campaign for some time. We absolutely welcome that. It's a big issue around just knowledge and information sharing and communication. We very much support Jeremy Hunt's work in looking at that and spreading that word, because it needs to be out on the front line for people who are considering becoming pregnant. They need to have these facts in front of them.
Well, I can just report now, and just before I let you go, I'll get your reflections on the move towards the King in a second. Let me just give you the detail that the walkabout has continued. King Charles, I thought for a moment, was just going to wrap it up. Then he saw, I think, certainly he went straight to a veteran in the crowd, somebody who was wearing military medals. And now there's a bunch of scouts, I think that is, in the crowd here, just outside Hillsborough. Lots of very enthusiastic people. Youngsters, a group of school kids, all with their yellow caps on. I think that's all part of the scouting movement, isn't it, if I'm not mistaken? So the transition to the King, this is a moment of jeopardy, I guess, for you and your association, or does you think it'll automatically transfer from mother to son in this case, Andy James?
Yeah, we are still waiting to hear, and we obviously there's a lot on at the moment for people in the royal world to be thinking about. But yes, we would love our patronage to continue. We expect it will. There is, interestingly, a strong link between the environment and global warming and instances of epilepsy. So we hope very much that Charles would continue the role.
Andy James, pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for being with us on this day. The walkabout is continuing. The King taking the lead. He's turned at least one corner, I think, and the people in the shots I'm seeing must be in this area. Well, the inevitable crowd control barriers are there, and people must be 10, 12 deep. I think I haven't seen a wide shot for a while. There's lots of hands reaching across one another, reaching across one another, reaching across one another, reaching across one another, reaching across one another.